we are now in the thermoforming process. So we have our heat gun and our hair styler. I'm going to start with our hair styler. So we're going to start by the center part, warming the center part. And we're just going to pull a little bit with our fingers, just like that. And you're going to give it, you can see a little shape here, sideways. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other, towards the other side. And we're going to do the second one. And then we're going to do the third area from the center. So you got something like this. So it's, now we're going to ruffle the edges. So basically the edges, you just stretch it out like this and they get rough. You just kind of go like that and do 1, 2, you stretch it like in a little ruffles like that. And there you go. So I'm going to stretch it out because you don't want it too curved like that. The anemone is a little bit open. So I'm going to just stretch this a little bit more so it can look a little bit more stretched. So it's got a certain curvature, but it goes like that. So it's 3, and then the edges, this one needs a little bit more ruffling. You know, you want the ruffle at the edges too. So, and there you go. You have, this is like your little, we're gonna glue it, but that's in the next part, okay? So we're gonna go shape, thermoform, petal 2, right in the middle. And we're gonna just press like that. And let's stretch it out. And then we're gonna do on the other side. We're gonna warm it, and we're going to make that same little stretched out line. And then we're gonna do the third side. And we're gonna do stretched out line. So you get your petal. I don't know if you can see one, the bending here. And now we're going to ruffle the edges. And we're going to ruffle them. So there's your petal, perfectly shaped. I'm going to stretch this out a little bit so it doesn't curve that much and it's a little bit more open. So we're going to do number 3. And we're going to do the same thing. So I have my at 450 degrees, but it doesn't have to be any particular degree in heat. So you want to do the third side. It's kind of hot, so you got the 3 little, you see here and here, here. And now we're just going to thermoform the edges. And here we're going to open it up a little bit more. Okay, because when we close it, we're going to close it on the bottom. So we're going to do our line here. Really nice. And then the third one. So you press it with your hand and make a curvature. And then the third line. And now we're gonna ruffle the edges. And here we go. So we got one more to go. Right through the center. And then we hit this one side. And then the other side. Ooh, that was hot. Make sure you don't get your the foam too hot. I do have some those gloves when it gets too hot, like when you're using the big 3mm foam. I usually wear the gloves because it does get kind of hot in your fingers. It does get kind of, you know, ooh. So you got your 5 petals. Now we're gonna do the same here, but we're gonna try to leave it not to curve up so much. So that means we're gonna do this and stretch it open. You know, you don't want it to go like that. You want it to stay kind of just very open. And then here, we can actually do it toward the back. If you can see, it's like opening to the back. So you want to send this to the back. Because you will have your big bud right here. So you want the bud to be noticeable. And we still have to close this and glue it. Okay, so you have something like that. But we're gonna go to that part. So we get the central part, we get that little curvature, then on the side, so you get something like that. And then this part, we're gonna try to send it to the back. You know, so when you stretch it, you send it to the back. And 2. And then 3. Now we're going to form the edges, stretch it to the back. Do those little ruffles, but towards the back. Then you've got 4. This towards the back and just stretch it. You need to stretch it, don't stretch too hard. Then we got the 5th one and the last one. To the back. This one like went too big, so I gotta open it a little bit more so it won't be that open. There you go. Okay, so you've got your 10. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna stabilize the strength of them. And basically we do this with the glue here. So what we do is we are going to make a little bend here to make it stable. We're going to go like that and then just glue the edges. Well, you can press it a little bit here. Just glue the edges. Something like that. So we're just going to do that. We're going to use your glue gun. So I'm just going to give it a little glue here and glue back here. And that's it. It's kind of like the wiring of the petal, right? But you don't need any wire because the thermoform holds it in place. So you're just going to do this little bend. And we're going to do the same here. We're going to pull this up and these side to the side. See? So we're going to put a little bit of glue here, a little bit of glue here, and a little bit of glue here. So you want to just little dabs. Now we're going to do the same thing here. Glue here, glue here, and we're going to leave a little fan like that. And we just hold it. Now these edges, we're going to open them up again, and they're going to look just beautiful. 3. So we're gonna heat it once again. Make that little, and then glue the edges and have a little thing like that. And then right back here. We just wait for it to dry. Oh boy. 4. We heat it back again. We form a little crease and we close the little sides. And it's just at the very, very edge. You don't want. And it's just a dab of glue. It's just to make the petal harder. You know, you don't want it moving around. Then after you have that, we're just gonna ruffle these out. Just the very, very, very edge. And you're gonna ruffle it out. And this is, you're going to. You have your pen. We're gonna heat this up. Ruffle it out. Basically, you just kind of stretch. You just heat up the very edge, and you stretch it out. You see, there's a difference between one and the other. You see, this is closed and this is open. So that's basically all it's done. And you heat this up, and you open it up. without losing this form, because you want this form to come out of the bud. So we're just going to open this up like that and open this up like that. Prettier petal looks. And here we're going to do this. And that's it. And these are the 5 ones. Now the bigger one needs a little bit more stability. So this one's going to be this in the back and this in the back. So it's kind of going to be like that. We're just going to, this part is going to be a little bit stronger. I don't know if you can see. So it was, so the central part, because you don't want it to flap like that. You want it to stay firm, right? So we're going to glue this little thing, although it will be glued a little bit to the previous petals. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna fold inside here and then fold to the inside here. Can you see that? Pretty simple. It's not that complicated. You just want this to hold, like, you know, it has to glue one to the other and it has to be glued towards the other side. So we gotta cross this over and make it stronger. It's very important, because if not, you have to wire it. And if you wire it, it takes the essence of it. So we're going to, let me redo it because it's not coming out exactly the way I want it. So we're gonna fold and fold. You're just gonna cross it. So I'm gonna put a little bit of glue and glue, cross this one down and this one over. Kind of the other way around than the small one. Now, if you do it like the small one, it doesn't really matter because it's going to be glued to the other petal, so it's going to hold good. The thing is, we want it to be as sturdy as possible, right? So here we go. And we warm this up again, and we're going to flap this over and then flap something like that over. Can you see? So now we're going to put a little bit of dab glue in here and in here. Make sure this is strong enough. There we go. Now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to make a little flap over this, and then this flap over this. There we go. Make sure we get, you know, the right, this is like the part that's towards the bottom. So we get something like that. Now we're going to glue it. So we put one and then the flap over it. We'll make sure it goes properly. And then we're going to go to the other one. We're going to warm this up. We're going to flap it and then put this flap over it. Actually, this flap is, this part is too much at the edge, so it's actually right here. See, because you want this little piece, you know, the one that's a little bit high to flap over this one. So we put one, and we put the other one. And there you go. And then we've got the last one. So you want to grab this flap over, and then this one over, and there you go. And now we're going to put some glue. Some glue, one over the other. So we are now done thermoforming our leaves, our petals. They look beautiful. 4, 5, and we've got the little ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we are done with this process. Here we go. We're going to start this off, and we're going to show you. We're going to grab one pistil, stretch it out, and twist it. So it's going to become higher. Now we're going to grab the second one. Actually, I untwisted the first one, so we're going to have to stretch it out as much as possible. Both of them together. So you see those little pistils. And you're going to stretch it as much as possible. And you're going to make a little twist. And they're little pistils. So we're going to grab another 2. Oh, they're so small. And this one untwisted. Try to make sure we grab the new ones instead of the old ones. And try to make sure it's as straight as possible. Ooh, this little tiny one, so cute. Becomes so stretchy. It kind of like shrinks, and then you stretch it out. Then the next one shrinks, and you stretch it out, twist it and stretch it out. So you see how they're coming? You stretch it out. Got your little pistils. So I'm going to continue right here like this. Obviously you want to keep the little head straight, because it's supposed to be a little pistil. And you want to stretch it out as much as possible. properly. I think I'm gonna get the camera closer. Let me start again. So obviously this part is a little time consuming. And you just stretch it. Now it's harder to do this with the heat gun, so I think in this you prefer like your iron. And you just touch one piece to your iron. Let me try the heat gun so you can see. So we're just gonna put one little piece out. And then we stretch. Let me get up. So we need to make sure that you only get one little piece heated. If you're going to use a heat gun, that's probably the way you're going to have to go about it. It's not that bad, actually. I guess I'm just used to the other one. Usually, the 40-incher flowers, those 10-foot stand 10-foot that you use 3mm, I do have to use a heat gun because it's basically almost impossible. Maybe just some forms. Although they're not looking that nice. So there you go. See this with the heat gun? I think it's better to use your iron or your hair styler. So we're going to continue all these. I'm going to turn this off. And we are going to now grab the purple one. And then twist. Second one, twist and stretch. Third one, twist and stretch. So you want your pistil as much stretched to the outside. So you want to hold them so it doesn't like something like this happen to it. Standing up. Make sure you wait until it's properly stretched to the upside. Until it is like cold, right? Finish thermoforming. The first thing you want to do is stretch it because that's like when it's really hot. we're going to twist it. Stretch it to the outside as much as possible. Twist it and stretch it as much as possible. Now, if there's a piece you don't like, for example, I don't like this one, I just warm it a little bit and I stretch it out a little bit more, holding it like this. These are a little bit too curved to the side, so I don't like it. Okay, now I'm going to show you what we're going to do with the teeth. The teeth is so easy. You're just going to hold it and let it fall to one side. Actually, this is really nice with a heat gun because it just falls. It just bends towards the inside. You see? So you just let it fall and then, because this is what's going to close up your little bud. So you see how they're all falling and curving towards the inside? They're all a little bit curved now. How easy it is. So we got one. Now we're going to form the other two. See? I want to put it here so you can see how it goes. They start falling, 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 falling. And we got this stuff. Make sure you don't burn yourself with the edges. So we got our little teeth falling. Now we're going to do the second, third. So you just hold it over. If you use the iron, they do the same thing. It just kind of bends. They bend towards the inside. Make sure here you don't burn yourself. These little edges right here. And we got it. See how they're curved? So here you see them curve. There you go. There they go. They are curved. So you've got all your thermoform teeth done. We've got one done. We've got two done. Now these, you really don't have to do anything to these, so these are done. And now we're going to go and continue with these. So one. And twist. Oh! Don't worry. If that happens, bye-bye. And if it happens in the middle, just cut off the piece and you're just, because remember, we're just going to glue them around and around and around the bud. So if you have several cuts, it won't be noticeable. keep on going. So you got 2. So I think I'm gonna time lapse the rest so it won't be so boring and you can just enjoy your crafting through this. And you won't have to be watching me do every single one, right? Now this is a time-consuming bud. There's some that are not that complicated. Now it can be done with wires and there's many ways to do it. We're trying to keep our materials in our kit easy because, you know, if you can use wires and moldable clay, it's also a good way, but it also takes long because it does have many details. The bud is just so superb, really. The anemone has a very unique bud. So I'm going to continue this. I'll probably time lapse it so you just can see. Another one toward. So we cut it off. And that's it. So we're going to time lapse the rest. So we are now ready to start thermoforming our anemone leaves. And this is very unique thermoforming procedure because we're going to make first a little pinch right in a big line right here. We're going to make a little, because that's where we're going to hide the wire. And then we're going to follow a line to every little part of the leaves. Right there. And we do another one right here. So this is a little bit labory. Now you don't have to do one by one, right? You can leave some little edges behind it, but might as well. So here you go to this little edge right here, and you pinch it. And we go to this little edge right here, and you pinch it. And then we're going to go a straight line all the way to the very end. That is very important we do because that helps it keep its form. You know, if you keep its form like that. And then we just do this one little edge right here. One more here. Will look pretty. And maybe one here. Would look pretty too. So you stretch it out so it looks like pointy. And there's your thermoforming. And this is your anemone leaf. Now we're gonna do second one. I think this didn't take the heat. Took too long. The great thing about foam is that it If you do it wrong, you heat it again and it loses its form, and you have like several chances. And then you actually can twist it to the side if you want to. Depends on the look you want it to have. So we got this right here. And now we're going to do this side here. Make this little strip here too, and then we're going to grab this little one here. You can actually turn it to the inside, make it your own little style. So I'm going to do this one too. So you've got leaf number 2. These will be assembled in 3s and they're going to look just so beautiful. The anemone leaf is very unique, to be quite honest. I always try to research all the flowers and variations and how many petals and pistils they truly have. And there's some that are very different. You know, they're the same family, but depends on the area they're from. Or the classic one we always know, but there's always all these new flower types that are just so unique. Follow this one. And here you have it. Let me just make sure these 3 are lined together right here. So make sure these right there. Awesome. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Then we go number 4. And we're already halfway done. Go. So you have your little pinching process. over here, we do the same thing. And maybe you would want to do that one too, just for sakes of it. So you see, it's all thermoformed. And we're gonna go for leaf number 5. And we're going to change the center. And we're going to do the 3 long ones, you know? So always get the 3 long ones first. Right here. This one too. This one too. And just for the sakes of it, here too. And there you have it. 5th leaf. And now we're on to the last one. Now we're not going to do these because those are thermoformed over the flower. When you're done, it's basically kind of like what you seal it off with to close it to the PVC pipe. So we're going to leave that at the end. So we're thermoforming our leaves. Get all these blue edges, all these little things done. Pinch towards the inside part. And there we are, and we have thermoformed all our leaves. These are going to be our anemone leaves, and we are going to pass on to the next step.